One of the highlights of my time in college was taking a class from the famed Maya Angelou. She is one of the most amazing communicators I have ever known. Some speakers own the room. Maya Angelou owned the entire campus. I remember the first class I had with her. I'd like to tell you that it was filled with an unforgettable poetry reading and rich stories about her textured life. But instead, we spent the entire time going around the room. Each student introduced themselves and clearly stated and spelled their names. In Miss Angelou's class, I was no longer Margaret, I was Miss Feinberg, and everyone else would recognize me as such. Well, at the end of the class, Miss Angelou explained that what we were really learning was really important. In fact, it would form the basis of our first test. Our first test, I thought? I should have been paying more attention. I quickly remember sketching a seating map and recording as many people's names as I could. Well, a week later, at our second class, Miss Angelou began by announcing, "Everyone get up and change seats." Suddenly, my seating map was completely worthless. But we spent the second class reviewing each other's names again. Round and round the room we went until the class came to a close. It wasn't exactly the awe-inspiring look at African American literature that I had hoped for. The third week, we would be tested as a class. Miss Angelou would call each of us by name and ask us to identify someone else in the class. Now, I don't know about you, but I hate being put on the spot, and I have never been very good at names. But somehow, during that third week of class, I managed to somehow say the right name when Miss Angelou called on me. At the end of the interactive test, which we all managed to pass, she asked a simple but unforgettable question. Why did we just spend the last 3 weeks getting to know each other's names? Then she asked, why did I just spend nearly 20% of our very valuable class time together making sure that you knew everyone else's name in the class? I remember the room had this kind of silence, this deafening stillness that only someone with the presence of Maya Angelou can command. Then she said, because your name is a sign of your dignity. And when someone recognizes your name, then you're not just recognizing them as a human, you're recognizing them as a person. And one of the greatest ways you can bestow human dignity on someone is by calling them by name. For the rest of the semester, we read a wide range of African American literature, including works by Maya Angelou herself. We listened in reverence as she read and recited poems that shook the soul. We laughed when she shared colorful stories from her childhood, personal adventures and experiences as an actress, and we held back tears when she told of her painful past. And we all dug in deep to create a final project that answered the granddaddy of all questions. Why does the caged bird sing? But more than a decade later, the greatest lesson that I ever learned from Maya Angelou is from those first 3 weeks. You see, she did more than teach me a lesson about human dignity. She allowed me to experience and partake of it firsthand. I don't remember the names of my classmates, but I still remember the sense of empowerment that I felt both when I used someone's name and when mine was used. After sitting in her class, I will never be able to refer to Maya Angelou as merely Maya.